Well, consumers keep spending. Retail sales for July topped expectations as spending rose across a number of categories, including food services, clothing stores, and sporting goods. So, what does this tell us about the state of the consumer? Let's bring in Tom McGee, CEO of ICSC, the International Council of Shopping Centers. He's joining us as part of Yahoo Finance's week-long special Retail Evolution, the new era. Tom, it's good to talk to you today. You know, the word we keep hearing over and over about the consumer is cautious. And yet you look at the retail sales numbers, they came in stronger than expected. What's the mindset right now?
I think cautious is a good word. Obviously resilient for sure. Retail sales this month were strong in almost every category. As you show here on the screen, ex-auto up 1%. Pretty broad-based. The things that were down were really things that, are somewhat attributable to, things that tend to follow housing and people buying homes and so forth. And so, broad-based, the consumer continues to be resilient. And when you look at things like back to school, our expectation for back to school is that, spending will increase by about 6.5% year over year. But the consumer is continues to be concerned about inflation. And so inflation does influence their buying decisions. That's why you see some big ticket items perhaps down year over year. But promotions, pricing, and so forth are certainly top of mind. There's a price sensitivity on the part of consumers, but they continue to spend for sure.
Tom, you mentioned the fact that you're expecting an uptick here in back to school spending. Is that because of inflation, or are people buying more items?
It's a little bit of both. Our 6.5%, that would exceed the expected inflation rate. But consumers are very sensitive to inflation. 9 out of 10 of the folks that are going to buy for back to school will look for promotions. They're going to be price sensitive. They're looking for discount items that might influence the brands they buy, particularly things like apparel, and where they buy, discount stores versus luxury items. But they're still spending. One interesting thing is that you saw sporting goods sales went up in July pretty substantially year over year. And that is one of the areas that, parents are spending this year is the sporting good items, because obviously when you go back to school, people start focusing on athletics as well.
So, Tom, what does this mean for, what we consider to be more traditional retailers, or the big box names? We have heard over and over that it's about sort of core spending. It's not about discretionary spending. We heard from Home Depot today saying that they're not going to be raising prices anymore. I mean, the pricing certainly feels like it's coming into focus more and more from a retailer standpoint because of how cautious the consumer is turning.
Yeah, certainly discount retailers are in vogue right now. I mean, that consumers are price sensitive, and so they are drawing large crowds. When you look at somebody like Home Depot, some of that has to do with what's happening in the housing market as well, because they're somewhat housing dependent. But discount retail, things like Target, Walmart, et cetera, are going to do well in this environment where consumers are continuing to spend, but they're price conscious. And so they're going to look to retailers that offer discounts.
Tom, from the shopping center perspective, what are you seeing in terms of occupancy rates? And given the fact that we are in a very uncertain economic environment right now, how is the industry, how are retailers positioned?
Yeah, suburban retail is on fire right now. So, the work from home phenomenon has clearly benefited suburban retail. People are working from home more often, they have more free time. So they're shopping more, both traditional retail shopping and going out to eat at local food and beverage. Urban retail is challenged, and it's challenged because of, again, the contrast from working from home is not going into the office. And so the strain on the office market has impacted urban retail. But the vast majority of retail space is in the suburbs. And so occupancy across the industry is almost 93%. It's very, very strong. And so that's doing very well. And stores are being used not just for traditional shopping, but retailers are increasingly using their stores for fulfillment, as many fulfillment centers. So solving for that last mile, either shipping from stores or having customers come in to fulfill online orders. So you're seeing retail the use of physical retail really have multiple dimensions now beyond just traditional shopping.
And adapt to the new environment that we're in. All right, Tom McGee, ICSC CEO, thanks for joining.
Thank you.